Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're peeling back the layers on one of the most audacious goals out there, the ultra-wealthy's mission to conquer aging. And what we're going to find is that the reality is way more complex and, honestly, more fascinating than any sci-fi movie.
So what is the real secret? It's a question that brings to mind, crazy futuristic treatments and hidden cures, but the answer is less about some secret cure and a whole lot more about a secret system. And that entire system is built on this one core philosophy, the belief that the human body isn't just decaying. No, they see it as a system that can be debugged, that aging is just a technical problem that can be solved. And that engineering mindset, it's the key to understanding everything else.
Okay, let's start with the things you've probably heard about. The futuristic and sometimes kind of strange treatments themselves.
First up is the sensational idea of young blood. Now, the hype is real in one sense. Animal studies did show some promise. But here's the catch. For humans, that evidence just evaporates. In fact, there's so little proof that the FDA has actually issued warnings against it.
And you don't just have to take the government's word for it. In fact, one of the most famous people to try this, Brian Johnson, publicly stated that after his big experiment, he saw, quote, no benefits.
So if the big splashy treatments are so speculative, what's really going on here? Well, the answer lies in the process, not the product. It's all about the operating system.
It's this relentless feedback loop. You constantly measure everything. Everything. Then you intervene with some kind of experimental treatment. And right after that, you immediately remeasure to see what changed. Think of it less like medicine and more like rapid A/B testing for the human body.
So the real advantage isn't a secret pill or some magic molecule. It's the ability to use near-total surveillance of your own body to run these incredibly rapid personal experiments.
Okay, with that system in mind, let's look at two more of the most talked about interventions and separate the scientific promise from the current reality.
Let's talk rapamycin. This one has one of the strongest track records in animals for sure, but for humans, it's totally experimental. Doctors are still debating who, if anyone, should even be using it this way. The jury is very, very much still out.
And then there's the ultimate goal, right? The wound shot. Actually resetting our cells' age. It sounds incredible, and it is, but it's also a promising but really risky frontier with some major safety hurdles still to overcome. So this brings us to the fuel for this entire system, money. But it's not just about having it, it's about how you use it in a very, very specific way.
Just look at this number, $180 million. That wasn't for some huge public company. That was the seed round for a single longevity startup funded by just one guy, Sam Altman. That's the kind of scale we're talking about.
And that really gets to the strategy. It's basically vertical integration. You don't just buy the treatments at the end. You fund the labs, you fund the AI, you fund the trials, you buy the whole shebang to steer the direction of the science itself.
So when you strip away all the hype and the headlines, what is the true advantage that money buys you in the quest for a longer life? It's not biology, it's logistics and optionality. It's the power to measure everything, to try anything, and to shape the future of the entire field. It's about having every option available all the time.
And this really illustrates the ultimate question this whole quest raises for all of us. If, and it's a big if, but if aging becomes a solvable problem, who gets access to the solution?